Rugrats is brilliant. The innocence and imagination of a child is perfectly captured in this show. I remember watching it when I was the same age as the characters and thinking it was completely on point with how I saw the world. Good hello, this is Onion Skin and welcome to Read Between the Frames. The scope was massive. Despite its world being so small, a journey to the garage or even just under the rug was a grand adventure. And it wasn't playing pretend. It was real. Real adventures exploring the world. Discovering what life had to offer for the very first time. The babies learn about the concept of monsters before they learn what a mouse is. Therefore, monsters are real. Of course they're real. Why wouldn't they be? To make the room seem vast and unexplored, they almost always have at least some degree of fisheye applied to them. Making distant things appear even further away, or exaggerating something depending on its angle. Like this kitchen being 4 tiles across from here, and 13 tiles across from here. This, after all, is the character's entire universe. A mysterious place like the garage, for instance, is strange and dark and otherworldly. Almost just as often, the camera angles are level with the babies, looking up at the adults and even at them. Grown-ups always talking about grown-up things, but so mundane to the real adventures taking place closer to the ground. Episodes traditionally start in close on a detail. You know, typically things that a child will notice and be intrigued by, but a grown-up may simply glance over. It's wonderful stuff. You don't even care that the animation is actually super janky. It's the early 90s. Traditional animation is still the way to go. Giving the movement extra life is more important than clinical clean smoothness. So there is a lot of weird flash frames going on here. Like a lot of them. I'm not even sure how this one happens. The cycle is 10 frames long, going up as Chucky rolls on the ball. The shoe is forgotten for 1 frame before the peak, so it disappears again on the return. Well, Stu's Tie doing whatever the heck it wants. Oh wow, look at this one. There's a few recycled drawings for Tommy's mouth in this particular shot, but I just can't not notice this one. That has a Phil bleeding in a few different places. It's like at the top of his lip or above his nose, and a stray dot just above his head. Watch the dot as it plays through. In fact, anytime the characters speak is interesting. The wobble is intense. It's one of the easiest examples to see where cell layering is taking place. The lower half of Grandpa's head. The entirety of Stu's head. In fact, on this shot, his face is the only moving point for like the whole thing, right? And then at the very end, his body twists over the course of like only 4 frames, but even then, there's his tie doing its thing again. Oh, that's so much fun. And then there's Tommy being like, But what's really properly freaking me out is this one. I don't understand. Look at this guy. Look at the shapes. Now, that's impossible to draw accurately frame by frame. But it is. It's the most stable bit in like the whole episode. It took a while to confirm that it wasn't in fact the same drawing sliding. But, yep, it's being redrawn. Every nook and cranny replicated. I did find a couple of cases of cell sliding though. Don't think it was intentional, but Chucky wobbling here for instance. Yeah, there we go. Dook, 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 dook. Yeah. Or look at this barricade as the mothers approach. At first I thought this thing was wobbling because maybe the cell had to be removed and placed back down again with each frame, but it shouldn't make it move that much. And it doesn't explain why it stops and becomes perfectly stable from this point on. What? Here's a good one though, where a layer element changes. Check it out, the hands and head are all drawn together. Confirmed especially by this little bit of overlap here. But from here, they become separate and move independently. It sticks right out, especially because the hands are a different shade now. Layering stuff has been the most entertaining thing to discover throughout this episode. Look at this. This is the best. They're searching for the monster in the garage, right? And things happen to cause this log to flip up in the air as the characters crawl underneath the car. Did you see it? Did you see it? Look again. How good is that? The log in the foreground is laid underneath the characters. But look closer still, you can see the characters are still being drawn to cut away as they go underneath the car. Amazing. finally, is this gem here, where they all leave from underneath the car. Now, this makes sense. Their heads are massive. How else are you going to do it? There has to be a point where the heads snap from being behind to in front. But the results are glorious. Do you see the extra little treasure, though? What is this? Is that... It looks like Chucky's hair. Is that Chucky's hair? It is Chucky's hair, isn't it? It is. Later on in the sequence, he stands up and he moves in front of the light in the exact same shape as the thing. The light eats away to create like a bit of a drop shadow effect. But if you look just before then, there's a few frames where he does overlap with the light, but he's laid behind it. So when it comes to the moment where he's like fully within it, they're gonna have to eat it away. That seems like the easy way to fix things up. But why do the frames play out back here? I don't know what can cause this in a traditional workflow. Also, Tommy is in front. If these are the same drawings again, there's no eat away for Tommy, he just is in front. Basically, I think we've discovered a fourth dimensional shape. Chucky is on top of Tommy, Tommy is on top of the light, and the light is on top of Chucky. This shouldn't be possible. Stop looking at it. The universe could very well implode at any moment. Season 1 Rugrats is a whole layer of entertainment that you never knew existed. Like this walk cycle. Is it fresh or is it looped? It is certainly looped. You can tell from Tommy's crooked knee. Floop, floop, floop. Hey, thanks for coming to check out Read Between the Frames. What shows would you like to see next? Consider subscribing, there's plenty more. And subscribe for next time when we revisit The Simpsons and explore the secret, very little known, unaired pilot episode. Oh man, it is a good story. Oh, also check out this opening again. Now, there's a couple of frames here where you can see outside the back of the rug, implying that when we see them enter frame, that's them entering the rug for the first time. So when Chucky says, "Are we lost?" just imagine for a moment that his legs are still sticking out the back. I love this show.